Hi there, polyphonic.org. Welcome back to the blog. So when I was your age, when I was in high school and when I was in college, I just wanted to go get my orchestra job and I wanted to sit in my chair, I wanted to play my instrument. And I never gave any thought to all of the stuff that makes an orchestra happen, beyond, obviously, the music. So here today to help us through the other half of the orchestra is Shay Mason, the Executive Director of the Glens Falls Symphony Orchestra. Thanks for being with us today, Shay.
Thanks for having me.
So I think the first question that we have is, what does the other half of the orchestra look like? What does the half of the orchestra look like that makes everything go, and what kinds of things have to be done aside from just showing up and rehearsing?
Okay. Well, I think that what a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, from stage setup to ticket management. There's a wide range of things that go on, so that when the concert goer comes to a performance, everything is smooth, that it goes off without a hitch, and that everyone can enjoy the performance, so that the musicians can do what they do best, and it all comes together into a polished show.
Excellent. Is fundraising a part of what goes on in the other the administrative side?
That's a big part of it, and you know, it's one of the things that I think we in the orchestra world get sort of obsessed about. It's something that has to be done to survive, and probably since orchestras have existed, this has been a problem. But you know, in this day and age where you read lots of things in the media about orchestras that you know, go belly up, we're constantly aware of how we need to keep doing our job on the administrative side with the financial management, everything that goes into that, to make sure that we are here. It's an obligation to our community, it's an obligation for the musicians who play for us.
Right, so most orchestras operate on a kind of a revenue model where there are three sources of income, correct? And there is the revenue that comes from endowments, there's the revenue that comes from active music-related activities,
right.
And then there's the income that comes from fundraising, from just donated income.
Yep.
And that can fluctuate sometimes from year to year.
It does, and I mean, we're a relatively small organization in upstate New York, and so we don't have a whole lot of fundraising resources, you know, right within our community. So we have to be very creative with what we do. You know, we try to think outside the box, and what are things that we can tap into that we've not thought of before.
Good. So if I win my position in the orchestra, what kind of interaction should I expect to have with management? What does management do that I should be appreciative of that just helps me make that just helps make my job easier?
Well, basically, we're trying to make sure that our musicians can get here when they need to get here, that they have, I mean, many of our musicians travel from a good long way away. So, you know, we're working weeks before a concert to make sure that our musicians have transportation, have a place to stay. You know, and not every orchestra operates this way, but it's something that we like to do for our musicians. We try to make sure that, you know, that they're fed during the break. All those little things. We have a librarian on staff who makes sure that the music gets to the musicians on time, so they have enough time to practice. And she's the one that sort of coordinates any issues with bowing. And there's a lot that goes into that. And honestly, before I did this sort of job, I had no idea what was involved with all of that. But you know, we want to make sure that our musicians are happy working for our organization, and that they feel a part of the community.
Good. Now, in this day and age where we have so many big, ugly examples of orchestras going belly up or suffering through long lockouts, it seems as though there's a fairly consistent pattern being played out where musicians and management are both equally surprised at the position that the other is taking. Do you think that it's important for an orchestra's musicians to have a strong relationship with management, and how would they go about forging that?
I think that definitely helps. Good communication is essential. You know, administratively, if we don't know what some of the issues are that the musicians may be struggling with, then there could be problems that arise, and you know, it could blow up suddenly without even realizing what was going on. So So it's good to be communicating and developing that relationship, I think, is absolutely essential. Not every administrator has played in an orchestra. If you have a musical background, that certainly helps. If you've been on the other side, I think that's a big part of it. And a lot of musicians haven't been on the administrative side, likewise. So trying to understand what's going on to make a concert happen, I think, is an important component of it.
I'm trying not to get too excited.
So if I'm in high school and if I'm in college, and I think that I really like music, but maybe I don't want to be a performer, what kind of opportunities are there going to be for me to get involved in the art scene on the other half of the orchestra, on the other half of the big music
I think there's a lot of opportunities, and it varies from orchestra to orchestra. As I said, we have a small staff. Some orchestras have a large staff, but there's many different jobs. And for an orchestra our size, I feel like I have to be a little bit of a jack of all trades.
Right.
You know, I'm doing the marketing, I'm doing the fundraising, I'm updating our website. There's just a lot of different components, and every day it's different. You have to be flexible, and it's exciting. No day is ever the same. I was a music major and a poli-sci major in college. I ended up going into politics after I graduated. But now coming back into the musical world, I find that I'm able to use a lot of those skills that I used in the political realm, administratively, the marketing and PR aspects of it, fundraising, all of that. Those are all terrific things to have a background in when you're looking to work on this side of the orchestra.
When you were in college, any specific courses that you're glad that you're taking or that you'd wish you'd taken that would be better equip you for this kind of a life?
I took, actually I took a journalism class, and I really just took it because I needed an additional English credit, and it was the one that would fit into my schedule.
Right.
But I use those skills almost every single day now when I am writing press releases and I'm talking to the media. Absolutely invaluable. I wish that I had taken a couple of finance courses.
Finance. What would be valuable about the finance courses?
You know, being able to understand budgeting, and you know, not just on a personal finance level, but for an organization and a very large budget. To be able to read that budget and work with your treasurer. These are all things that I had some background with the previous job, but I had no knowledge of this when I was in college, and actually it would have been very helpful, I think, to have been able to take a couple classes. It certainly wasn't even on my radar screen, but looking back, I think, yeah, that really would have been a good idea.
Good. Well, that's good to know. One last question.
Okay.
I have to ask it. Who's your favorite composer?
Oh boy, that's a hard one. There's so many. I think probably if I were just going to sit down and just pick something that I absolutely love, and I come from a choral background, so let me just state that. Gabriel Fauré is one of my favorites.
I love his requiem.
Yeah, fantastic stuff to sing, and just so much of it is just haunting and beautiful. So.
Brilliant. Anything else that you'd like to add to our listeners before we sign off?
Well, I mean, the other thing that I would say to I think this particular audience is something you may not think of in terms of relating to a musical job is just the technological aspects of this type of job, and the social media and keeping a website up, and you know, learning all of those things, very valuable. And of course, the younger generation probably has a much better handle on that than some of the older generation. But the way to market your symphony today is out there on Twitter and Instagram, and getting out to a younger audience to keep the symphonic music alive.
Well, there we go. So.
Stuttered over.
It happens. Good. So thank you for your time, Shay, and thank you for your expertise in sharing with us. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we will see you next time. Thanks.
Thank you, I hope that came out all right.
Yeah, I think it did.
And where's that show up?
It's going to show up on polyphonic.org.
Oh, it's a website, huh? Polyphonic.org?
Yep.
Heard of it.
All right.